You're going to meet with the president.
I am. Maybe this is a beginning to heal America.
Hopefully he comes out being a realist, because I still think Bill Maher have 40% fakeness in him. If he really liked Trump and he really have respect for him, when he comes out of the meeting, he's going to say it. Hey, I got a question for you. Are you feeling buried under credit card bills, personal loans, or medical debt? Is it like your money is working harder for the lenders than it is for you? But let me tell you something, it don't have to be that way. And that's where PDS Debt comes in. PDS Debt goes beyond just managing your debt. They take the time to understand your unique financial situations and create a personalized plan that actually works for you. No cookie cutter solution, just a clear path to financial freedom. And the best part is there's no minimum credit score required. Whether your credit is bad or fair, PDS Debt is here to help you save money, to pay off your debt faster, and to start building your savings. I wish PDS Debt was around when I was struggling with debt. If you're feeling stuck, don't wait. Every single day that you wait is costing you money. Take control today by visiting pdsdebt.com/Tatum to complete your free debt assessment, and it only takes about 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum, your first step towards financial freedom. So let's get into a few things that I saw and I noticed over the weekend. One is that Bill Maher is officially going to a White House dinner to meet Donald Trump. And it's interesting to me because how much will the tide move? Not too long ago, we saw instances like this, or people like Bill Maher who could not stand to even breathe the same air as Donald Trump and had Trump derangement syndrome to the umpteenth power. And now we're seeing people wake up and realize that maybe, just maybe, the lies and deception has all been just that, lies and deception. So here's a video, and you guys probably seen this before, but I just want to make sure that we're clear and it's confirmed. And I'm showing you evidence is confirmed that Bill Maher is going to go meet Trump for dinner. Here's a clip with him talking about it with Cuomo wrote a clip.
You're going to meet with the president.
I am.
So Kid Rock makes it happen. What do you think has been the response so far? What do you think it will be, and why are you doing it? Which I'm totally for, by the way, and I love it.
I get it. Well, I'm doing it because, first of all, it was presented as
a dare.
not a dare. No, just like, maybe this is a beginning to heal America. No, I don't have some sort of complex where I think I can heal America. I can't. Okay, let's get that clear. I'm not going to be healing America.
We know.
But if two guys who've been at each other for so long, I mean, it's kind of a Nixon to China thing. I have the credentials. There was nobody who was harder on Trump or more prescient about the fact that he wasn't going to leave office voluntarily than I was. I feel like I have the credentials. But they also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town. And I don't shrink from that. And I've also lost a lot of fans for that. The woke people have left the building, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice. But it does give you a certain credibility. So I just think to meet somebody, first of all, it's an honor to be invited to the White House.
Yes, it is.
And I've already had a couple of people who I said to them, you know, I'm just going to take it as a backhanded compliment that you glide right past the idea that little Bill Maher from Rivervale, New Jersey, just a humble kid from the suburbs, was invited for a private dinner to the White House. You glide right past that to how dare you talk to him, and that you're not impressed by it at all. I'm impressed by it a lot. I'm impressed the out of it. I get to go to the White House.
Well, good for him. Let's go to clip 4. This is another clip of the invitation to the dinner. Roll it.
And comedian Bill Maher is not listening to critics who are upset over his plans to visit President Trump at the White House.
I'm not playing this game that you mean girls play.
Yes.
Where like, oh, you know what? You can't sit at my lunch table because I'm just not talking to you. And you also have to respect that, you know, the guy did win. It's more than half the country or whatever. I mean, you know, yes. I keep saying it. I'm not going to hate. You can not like Trump. You can hate him. You can't hate everybody who vote for him.
Yes.
I don't hate half the country, and I don't want to hate half the country.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not where my mind ever wants to go for my own mental health.
Yeah.
Is all this hate.
Yeah.
So yes, I will talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's you know, It's an honor to be invited to the White House under any circumstances.
Absolutely.
Perfectly reasonable as that. The comedian also joked that he will not dress like Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. He wants to dress for success, guys.
So
Yeah,
goes,
just a suit and tie.
They asked, what are you going to wear? He's like, I'm not going to dress like Zelensky. Obviously, that was an issue.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that
Funny.
Kid Rock's doing this.
I
Absolutely.
love it. I
Kid
prefer
Rock
the
connected
Fetterman
them.
dress code. I like that one.
Thank you very much, Carlin. Yeah, Kid Rock is brokering a peace summit, essentially.
Right. And if he has some time, if he could do something with Russia and Ukraine, I like Kid Rock on that one, too.
I like it.
I just think it's incredible that the country is so divided that this is news. That someone from the other side goes to the White House to meet with the president. That we're so pulled apart that him going to the White House just to meet the commander-in-chief becomes a news story. And it's only because we're so divided right now.
Yeah, but think about during the Biden years, when was the last time Joe Biden or his team invited somebody who was,
True.
from the other...
Let me give some more context to this, because I think it's not just Bill Maher, for the things that many of us who got into politics, more recently, it's not just that Bill Maher hated Donald Trump for a little bit of time and then now he's going to the White House because he's jumping on the bandwagon with everybody else. They have a long history of things. In 2013, Donald Trump sued Bill Maher, which is, it's petty, boy. It's petty. I think it's necessary. The lawsuit, and we have the clip of it when he was on Jay Leno, he joked that he would donate $5 million if Trump proved that he wasn't a son of an orangutan. Now, how preposterous it is to even suggest that. But he came on the show, and we got the clip, and he mentioned it. And since Donald Trump submitted his birth certificate and proved that he wasn't the son of an orangutan, he sued Bill Maher for $5 million. The case ended up dropping, but here it go on Jay Leno.
Donald Trump is suing Bill Maher for $5 million. During an appearance on The Jay Leno Show, the comedian implied that Trump must be, quote, the spawn of his mother having sex with an orangutan, and offered the mogul $5 million if he could prove otherwise.
The color of his hair.
Yeah.
And the color of an orange orangutan is the only two things in nature of the same color. So
Maher was mocking Trump's offer to donate $5 million to the charity of Barack Obama's choosing if the president would release his college paperwork. Trump promptly produced his birth certificate and affirmed that he is indeed the spawn of two humans. When Maher didn't pay up, the billionaire announced the lawsuit on Fox and Friends. Maher's reaction to the announcement is best summed up by his tweet after hearing of the lawsuit.
Well, anyway, Trump dropped a lawsuit, but it goes to show how ridiculous some of these people were when they were saying negative things about Donald Trump. If you don't know really Bill Maher's stance, Bill Maher is a liberal. He's not quite a leftist anymore. He still have leftist tendencies, but he's more of a liberal. When I say liberal, it just means people who are not quite off the cliff yet. I think they still believe in things that I think are radical and that are unnecessarily believed upon by certain groups of people because they're soft and effeminate or emasculated men. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but let me just give you some examples. The biggest red flag of all when somebody says, I'm for climate change. The reason that I say it's a big red flag is because you can never get to the bottom of why somebody would really be for climate change. Because it used to be global warming. Then after the grift is up and they realized the globe isn't warming because they said it was warming. And then there's evidence to show that there's no signs of the globe warming to any significant degree. And they had to change it. Now they call it climate change, which is absolutely ridiculous and immeasurable because the climate will always change. The question is how much human intervention is causing the climate to change at the rate in which it's changing. Many of the folk who believe that the world is billions of years old, I think that 100 years or so of human intervention by using fossil fuels is not going to somehow radically change the environment of the entire Earth. It's almost a conspiracy theory at this point.
See, I'm not one of these people who's worried about everything. You got these people around you. The country's full of them now. People walking around all day long, worried about everything. Worried about the air, worried about the water, worried about the soil. Worried about pesticides, insecticides, food additives, carcinogens, worried about radon gas, worried about asbestos. Worried about saving endangered species. Let me tell you about endangered species, all right? Saving endangered species is just one more arrogant attempt by humans to control nature. It is arrogant meddling. It's what got us in trouble in the first place. Doesn't anybody understand that? interfering with nature. Over 90%, way over 90% of all the species that have ever lived on this planet, are gone. Whoosh. They're extinct. We didn't kill them all. They just disappeared. That's what nature does. They disappear these days at the rate of 25 a day, regardless of our behavior, I mean. Irrespective of how we act on this planet, 25 species that were here today will be gone tomorrow. Let them go gracefully. Leave nature alone. Haven't we done enough? We're so important. So important. Everybody's going to save something now. I'll save the trees, save the bees, save the whales, save those snails. And the greatest arrogance of all, save the planet. What? Are these people kidding me? Save the planet? We don't know how to take care of ourselves yet. We haven't learned how to help one another. We're going to save the planet?
Because when you look at the earth, you essentially realize that 80% of the earth is uninhabited and uninhabitable by human beings. If you ever looked in the sky, and I did it yesterday at my son's tournament, it's right by airport in Mesa, Arizona, and they take off, and those jets take off, and they glide into nothingness. And a scope of view that I could see, which would probably be about 30 miles this way and 30 miles that way over the horizon. And then you see that plane that to us is massive. And it goes into the sky and it turns into a little dot that's immeasurable when it comes to the scope of how big planet Earth is. And then you begin to realize that look at how little these people are. Look at how insignificant human beings are on planet Earth. I mean, you're talking going up about 30,000 feet, which is pretty much nowhere in comparison to the ground and outer space. 30,000 feet is absolutely nothing. And at 30,000 feet, you can't see anything. Just think of how little and insignificant we are. I would argue that almost our insignificance is like an ant. An ant is burning a barbecue grill in ant world. How much environmental impact do you think a little ant burning some smoke on this little dirt pile, as expansive as the atmosphere? I think it's a grift. And the only way they can grift you like this, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is because to the human being, everything seems to be connected like this. From the human being, you go from here to downtown and it feels saturated with people. It feels like, you know, when people think of their world, they think of the whole world existing in this bubble that they live in. But then you go to Israel from the United States of America and you fly over the ocean for 10 hours at 600 miles per hour. And you realize, what in the is out there? 10 hours. We were flying almost 10 hours over the water. I mean, there's just vast amounts of water. And it's miles deep. It's just unimaginable how much water is on Earth. And nobody's nowhere near any significant existence on 80% of the Earth. And we're not gonna even talk about Antarctica. I mean, my man, I think Antarctica is the biggest continent in the world. And no one lives in Antarctica. Not a single human lives there. Maybe they're setting up a tent there to do research, but none of it has been explored. What are we talking about? A couple ants over here and a couple ants over here is this Earth that's been rotating on axis for 10 billion years or something crazy is somehow going to be completely thrown a loop and humans ain't going to be able to exist because 100 years of people putting emissions in the atmosphere. And all these trees that exist in the Amazon and all these different things that give us clean, fresh oxygen, somehow that has no impact on it. It's a bunch of bull crap, in my opinion. Same-sex marriage. Of course he would agree with same-sex marriage. I think same-sex marriage ain't even a thing. I think two people can be together, two people can love each other. I think something is off if a man want to be with a man. But look, you live in America. Do you, boo? Ain't got nothing to do with me. Just don't add me in your equation and we ain't got no problems. But it should be a civil union or a relationship, not a marriage, because a marriage is between a man and a woman. A marriage is a covenant between God and man. And you can't play with that, in my opinion. But of course, either marijuana legalization. Many people believe in legalized marijuana. I believe in medical marijuana. I do not like the idea of people going to buy marijuana randomly down the street somewhere. I don't like that idea. But people voted for it and they get what they want. That don't mean I have to smoke it. But medical marijuana, in my personal opinion, is invaluable to society. But people going out and smoking weed and blacking themselves out every day, I don't think it's productive for a culture. Obviously, he still believes in woke culture, political correctness to a certain degree. He's combating woke culture. Let me correct that. And political correctness, obviously, he's now standing up against it. And certain aspects of the Democrat Party, he's skeptical of, which anybody with a connected brainstem would be. So that's pretty much Bill Maher in a nutshell. When he speaks to Donald Trump, I cannot wait to see what the dinner is like. I can't wait to see what it consists of. Hopefully he comes out being a realist, because I still think Bill Maher has 40% fakeness in him. It used to be 80, now it's 40%. I think when he meet Trump, hopefully it goes down to 20%, which means that if he really liked Trump and he really have respect for him, when he comes out of the meeting, he's going to say it. He's not going to hold back and try to capitulate to people who might be his followers, because he don't want to really go all out there and put himself out there and be a Trump supporter, because he was so against Trump at one point in time. That's what I'm hoping that he would do. If he does, in fact, find that he's been wrong about Donald Trump and that Donald Trump is a likable person to him, I want him to come out and say it and quit trying to beat around the bush like Stephen A. does. He does it. It's a whole bunch of people that just come, they put their foot out of the closet, but they don't want to come all the way out.